Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Live from Dave's Office. We are so glad you are here with us. We got a lot of news to cover today regarding we're reopening the church this Saturday, and we're so excited about that. And without any further ado, our pastor, Dave Kettleson.
Welcome, everyone. The most important thing you need to know about us opening is we want to be intentional about when you walk back through those doors this Sabbath, that it's a good experience. And, this plan is not intended to get people back to church, everyone. It's open for those who feel comfortable, and we're going to require some limited restrictions and follow the governor's recommendations. But the church is going to be sanitized and clean. We're going to provide hand sanitizer stations at strategic locations. We're going to provide adequate signage for social distancing policies and procedures as you come into the parking lot. The greeters are going to have the doors open. We will not shake your hand. Of course, you probably knew that. Maybe an elbow bump. We're not even quite certain. We're going to just welcome you. And there'll be no bulletins. So everything's going to go. Now, we're going to have two services. There'll be a 10 o'clock service, which we're encouraging a lot of people to come to the 10 o'clock. Now, it is required that you do have a mask. So make certain that you bring your own mask. If you don't, we will have one for you. Now, this is one you can keep. You can take it back home, you can clean it, and use it again the next week. But we're going to have all items from the Welcome Center removed. There will be a 11 o'clock service too. So notice the 10 o'clock service is going to be about 45 minutes long. We're going to have two opening songs, a few brief announcements, our prayer offering, and then we'll have the message. And then we'll have a closing song, all packed in about 45 minutes. And then there'll be a 15 minutes where you go out one exit also. So we'll actually be ushering you out so that you won't get bottled up, and just some heads up things so you'll know. We're also too, we'd notify anyone if there was anyone feeling sick, they have a cough or a sore throat or anything, so that we'll keep everyone posted. If anyone is interested in our youth or young adults, we are not open for that yet. So we'll be talking to Laura and Andy about that, and nothing there is happening. Now, also too, as you come into the building, like I said, our greeters will not shake your hand, but they'll welcome you. They'll plan to have gloves on. The greeters will man a temperature checking for everyone that comes in. Anyone with 100.4, we're going to invite them not to come on in, and we're going to be real nice about it. But overall, I think you're getting the picture that we want to be safe, and at the same time, we want to have a joyful, exciting worship experience together. Now, if food and drink is made available, we're talking about those who serve. It'll all be prepackaged. They'll be wearing masks and gloves, and also the drinking fountains will be closed. We'll have, if the weather's appropriate, the coffee and the refreshments, prepackaged refreshments outside where you can pick them up there. Now, the auditorium doors are going to remain open until the service begins, and a assigned gloved person will be the individual that touched the doors. Adult Sabbath school classes, we know we'll have one, maybe two, and we're going to have that already arranged for the social distancing, so you don't have to worry about that. Sanitizer stations will be provided at the entry. Disinfectant wipes, we're hoping, and we're going to post signs in the bathroom. There'll be a limited amount of number of people that come into the bathroom. Also, too, we're going to strongly recommend that at the second service you wear a mask, but we're not going to require that. Now, here's something very important to understand. Those who are watching and those who come into our building and our staff and our volunteers, we're not going to be policing you. We're not going to go around trying to, if you're not following the policy, we hope you do, but if you don't, we're not going to be around meticulously making certain everyone does everything that is required, because it's just not something that's of a good worship experience, and that's not our job, really. We're just hoping that you will follow that. So also, too, just so you'll know, there's about 125 seating capacity for both services. If we need to, we'll go to a 12 o'clock service. So there'll be a 10, 11, and 12. And the 12 o'clock service will get out about 1:45 till 1, which we normally get out about, I'd say close to that time anyway. So the services will be shorter, and our whole service from 10 till 12 will be about the same. Now, we are only doing 2 right now, and we're going to monitor this. See if we need to go to 3, we will. Also, too, we're going to ask family members, you just come on in and you sit together. We're not going to separate families, of course. And if you are a member or a guest and they're not part of your family, just go ahead and sit about two seats between you, about 6 feet, pretty close to that. And we should be very safe there. We have taken out every other row, and when our deacons come by, they will take up an offering. They'll have masks and gloves. You're welcome to give there. We'll also have a box in the back, or you can just give online. Many of you give online. Like I said, we're going to dismiss by rows also. We don't know about communion service yet. We're still in discussion about that, and baptisms. We've got a couple of people who are very interested in baptism, and so I'll be talking to them about that too. Our life groups right now, we're encouraging them to continue online. I think there's a couple who are meeting, and one other thing that may not really be as much interest to you, and that is that our praise team, each member will use separate mics and keep social distancing arranged. There will be a band. We're asking you, and I know it's going to be hard because Hamilton they express their worship. I'm not sure why that happened. And we're going to invite you to not sing. There's so many, and Josh Gilbert is going to share with you so many different ways where we can express our worship to God without singing. Now, if you do, we're not going to stop you, but you have to have a mask on, of course. But we're inviting our members to not sing during the worship services just for a bit. As you know, things are not back to the way they were, and so we're doing the best we can to provide a real meaningful worship experience for everyone that comes back. I think I covered a lot of bases. I think the most important thing for you to know is we're not going to be policing. We're going to be just making certain your first day back at the building, because you are the church. I don't want to say the church. The building is a great experience. So we hope you feel safe. And if you want to continue to watch online, that's quite all right too. So Hal, anything you want to add, or anything that you think our folks should know?
No, I just want to summarize and make sure that everybody has some of the basics down. There are 2 services, 10 and 11. So if you're used to coming at 11:30, you're going to be a little bit late to that second service. And the services are going to be 45 minutes. There are going to be 2 songs, a message, and a closing song. The first service, we're asking everyone to please wear a mask. That is required for the first service. For the second service, the mask is optional. It's encouraged, but optional. The seating is limited to 125 in the sanctuary. So keep in mind, if you're normally coming to the 11:30 service, you might seriously want to look at that 10 o'clock just to make sure, because the last thing we want to do is turn anybody away because we're full. But because of the laws and the statutes from the county, we're kind of in that situation. So please consider coming to that 10 o'clock service. Especially if you're somebody that wants to wear a mask, and you want to be around everyone wearing a mask, that 10 o'clock service is going to be your best option. There's going to be signage all over the church. We are checking your temperature before you come in. The middle doors of the church are the only doors that will be open to come in, and there will be a definite line of where to go in and where to go out. Kind of like there is if you go over to Walmart now, there's one door in and one door out. We're going to be doing virtually the same thing. Now, with all that said, we're back, and we're just glad to be back, and it's exciting, and we're looking forward to everyone being involved with everything we do again. So, no, it's exciting, Dave. I'm thrilled. I'm ready to see people again. It's going to be wonderful.
Well, it's going to be nice to be preaching to a few people out there. It's been empty, and it's been really hard to preach to an empty church. Let me tell you, that is not an easy task. In fact, I think my first Sabbath preaching to no one, I was more nervous just thinking there's no one here than if there was a huge crowd. So I was really looking forward to you coming. We did have a structural engineer come. Our building is safe. There's still some damages. You'll notice right away. Our trees, if you haven't been there for a while, are pretty much completely wiped out. As far as going upstairs, completely off limits, promised land. We will have a gate there. We'll have signage, no one going upstairs. Now, kids are welcome too, of course, but you'll need to keep them together with your family. We want your children to come. They're welcome to be there, but there will be no children's program. And so they'll just be there together with your family. I can't think of much else other than we're excited. We know the worship experience is going to be very meaningful. We've been planning for this day, and the message this week is God is so good. He's not just good, he's so good. Just like in John 3:16, for God so loved the world. He doesn't just love us, he so loves us, and he's so good. So be sure and come. You don't want to miss one single part of this series. There's 5 parts to it. And so this first one is a kickoff, and then there'll be five messages that goes along with God is so good. So we're hoping that you'll be able to come back and join us this Sabbath. We're looking forward to it. And I'm not sure if we missed anything, but I do want to remind both Hal and I want to remind you tonight is our Tuesday evening meal, 6 to 7:30. About 4:30, they begin setting things up. If you can be a part of that, or just drive by, just say hi, grab a lunch, an evening meal, and just shout out and thank our team for what they're doing. They do a great job. We really appreciate them reaching the community and making connections. So anything else now that we need for the temperature, as you said, it's going to be kind of a distant temperature, Patrick was telling me. So we don't even have to touch you. It's just something that kind of a ray of light or something like that. Technology is amazing. So it's a non-invasive temperature screening. Just want
Right.
you to know.
And just keep in mind, folks, this is all still a work in progress. This is all new to us. We don't know exactly how everything is going to go or what's going to go on. So we're going to figure this out as we go too. But the good news is that we're back. Yeah. We're going to be back together. We're going to be worshiping again together, and that's going to be wonderful. Like Dave said, dinner tonight at the church is lasagna. We have about I think 7 or 8 people bringing lasagna pans tonight. So it's going to be good homemade stuff. I think there's going to be salad and stuff to go along with it. But this is one you don't want to miss. Even if you don't stay, just swing by and pick some up for your family. And if there's anyone that you know that needs it, this is open for everyone, not just victims or people who have been hurt by the tornado or the homeless or anything. This is for everybody, and that includes you. So stop on by and get dinner, and hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, when things start opening up, we can start serving inside and having some activities at the church. Fingers crossed on moving forward.
Yeah, and if you do, I don't know if you have enough lasagna or not. You don't have to make a lasagna, or just pick one up from Food City or Sam's Club or Walmart, and and a frozen one, and just bake it and send it on over. But it doesn't have to be homemade. It can be. It doesn't have to be. I know one lady called me up. She says, I'm going to bring a couple of lasagnas, and I think she dropped them off at the church yesterday. So you're welcome, but you don't have to bring a lasagna, like Hal said. Just come and show up and have lasagna. So don't feel like you can't come. We just want you to know you're always welcome. Always welcome.
Awesome. And as always, if you have any questions, you can send them to info@hamiltonchurch.com. That's on the screen now. Anything that you have a question about, whether it be opening, whether it be about the dinners, whether it be about the services, anything at all. If you have a question, we will here to answer it for you. info@hamiltonchurch.com.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that, because we are actually doing Monday through Thursday our devotionals. We're in John chapter 4, talking about the Samaritan woman, and then so we have the podcast only once a week now, only on Tuesday, so you won't see one on Thursday. But if you have questions, like Hal said, go to hamiltonchurch.com. Is it /info?
No, it's an email, info@hamiltonchurch.com. And also, you can get all the information you need from the website, which is hamiltonchurch.com. Even just so you know, this whole reopening plan, all the guidelines are available on the website. So if you go to the front page, there'll be a little button there. So everything we've talked about today, if you want to see in writing, it's going to be there at the website.
Right. Yeah. Well, with that being said, we're so glad that you joined us today, and we're again looking forward to this coming Sabbath. It's just days away. Plan your schedule. Come to the 10 o'clock. If you can, come to the 11. You're welcome either one, but I think your safer bet is to come to the 10 o'clock. Bring your mask. If you don't have one, we will provide it. Remember, do not come at 11:30. You'll only have 15 minutes of worship. You don't want to do that. You want to be right there at the beginning, right at the start. So 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock services. We do have a Sabbath school at 10 also, but 10 o'clock worship and then 11 o'clock worship. 45 minutes. And just kind of run through one more real brief time. We have 2 songs. Then we have announcements, really brief, and the prayer and offering, the message, a closing song, and that's it. So I'm only going to preach about 20 minutes. I hope that's okay. I'm sure it is. So we want to thank you for joining us today. Let's bow our heads and talk to our King. Father in heaven, we're so grateful that you're our God and you're so good. And we're looking forward to just hearing about how good you are, even in the midst of crisis and corruption and storms and chaos in our world. We know that you're still good. And I just pray that we'll be able to come back and worship you. That's what it's all about. It's about you, not us. So as we step foot back in our doors, may we remember to let down our protection, and just remember it's about protecting you, not just each other. And I thank you so much for your love and your kindness to us. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us on our podcast again. May God bless you real good.